first the points, and then the pints, first the points, and then the pints. Oh my God. Just what a game. What a game. What a statement. What a club. What a manager. What a fan base. What a stadium. Everything. And what I love about Wolverhampton Wanderers was out there today in its element, in its shining old gold best. Today, honest to God, is one of the best football matches from a Wolves standpoint I've seen for a very, very long time. There was some statement football there from some footballers who have been judged all season, who have been ridiculed all season, and who have been thrown under the bus all season. And I'm telling you now, if Wolves played like that, if Wolves had that intention from day one, if Wolves had this manager earlier on in the season, we would have been nowhere near flirting with relegation like we have been. Nowhere near. We've all known that there is quality in this squad. We all know that there are some individuals in this squad that genuinely are the best I've seen in a gold shirt. And today, there was some that surprised even me. Even me that has to sit there and analyse these players day in, day out. I was surprised today at some of the performances that these players put in, the effort that the players put in today. Even I was shocked at. I'm not running an intro today. We are getting into this football match because I am raring to go. As soon as that final whistle blowed, I was like, right, give me a few minutes to collect my thoughts. But honest to God, guys, that is an absolute statement from Wolves today. Wow. Do me a big favour, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and hit that notification bell before we get started. If you're new here, we do a player review at the end, so we'll go over that, individual players at the end, but we will go over the match in general, stats and stuff, because there's a lot to talk about in this video, so please sit back and enjoy, because I've got a lot to talk about. So it might be a bit of a longer one, so get your popcorn ready. But guys, I just want to say a massive thank you to everybody that stuck around on this channel and supported us. It really, really means a massive, massive deal. And I know I haven't gone into the football match and people are already probably skipping this point, but if you haven't skipped this, honestly, I genuinely mean this. It means everything that you guys have stuck around and enjoyed the content that we're putting out. Yeah, so obviously I'm buzzing and I'm smiling ear from ear, and there was a lot that went on in this football match, and we're going to talk all about it right here, right now. Here we go, let's go. So, Wolves won convincingly, by the way. Tottenham 4-2. We won them 4-2 today. And there was obviously a great deal of goals, you know, for the people that obviously don't support either of these teams, for the neutrals. Absolute feast of you know, goals there for everybody. But it doesn't really tell the full story, because even though Tottenham scored 2 goals and it looks like they sort of started to fight back a little bit, it was all Wolves today. It really was. There was obviously a couple of mistakes defensively that led to both of our goals. One obviously come from a set piece, which is obviously always going to create issues. We've been doing that all season for us. But you know what? Like, it was all about Wolves today. It really was all about the old goal today. So let's look about how we lined up. So we went for a unchanged team. Of course we went for an unchanged team. Why would we do anything different? So we've got Sarr in goal, back 3 of Totti Gomez, Agbadu and Doherty. Then we've got Ait-Nouri and Semedo on the wings. We've got Andre and João Gomez in the middle. We've got Bellegarde and Munetsi acting as a bit of hybrid 10 slash centre midfield slash wingers, wherever you want to fit them. And then Strand Larsen operating as that number 9. And I'm looking at those player scores, by the way, FOTMob. I'm looking at those player scores, and I'm sorry, that needs improving, man. I saw some unreal performances today. The fact that none of them, only Aït-Nouri's got an 8.8 according to this. That's shocking, man. That's awful. Well, anyway, we're going to give our own player reviews in a minute, so don't worry about those. But yeah, so let's talk about the game. Let's talk about the first half. Let's break it down a little bit. So it's not letting me go to just the first half. Hold on just a sec. Let me give it a good refresh. Yeah, it's just letting me just look at it in general. There we go. First half. Boom. Right, so possession-wise, if you look at the possession, it looks like Wolves absolutely got dominated by Spurs. And it's really genuinely how I think Vitor wanted us to play. He wanted us to play knowing that they're playing a high line, knowing that they've got defensive stabilities and players missing in their defensive third. He knew that basically if we literally just plummeted them with pressure and just kept a constant press throughout the entire half, goals would come through mistakes, of course, which is what happened. But what annoys me, and I don't know if you Wolves fans think the same, but it annoys me when we play a so-called top 6 side, which is laughable today, by the way, a so-called top 6 side, when Wolves play one of those, if they lose or they're losing or they're playing badly, it's always them playing badly, and it's never Wolves playing well, or it's never a system working well, or a player playing out of his skin to play well. It always really annoys me, but anyway, that's a side discussion. But yeah, Wolves, all of the stats here basically don't really sum up what we saw from the game, really. We caused them to make mistakes, of course, but what was really good from the off was the fact that Bellegarde got on his bike, got all the way to near the corner flag, and got us a free kick really, really early in the game. And then it's whipped in onto Vicario, who probably had the worst goalkeeping performance I've seen, and that really shouldn't be the case after seeing Andre Onana recently. But honestly, I think even Andre Onana is going to be thinking, wow, that was bad. Anyway, it gets whipped in. Vicario does awful, punches it into complete danger zone. But he's still got loads to do at Ryan Aït-Nouri, but he does really, really well to sort of half volley it into the ground. So the bounce makes it really, really difficult for it to be defended against, and it just sails into the net. And it was a fantastic start for Wolves, and really exactly what you want, really, because I think after that, Spurs' game plan just went completely out the window, and then it meant that they really had to start to come at us. And after doing that, their defensive line, I know that we say that their defensive line is high, but oh my God, man. It was just ridiculous. It was like suicide football. I don't know how Ange is staying in his job role, because literally it was so easy to play against them today, because their defensive line was so high and so unsure of themselves that we could have had more than 4 today. But anyway, so that's the goal. We then get a second goal. We should have had a second goal before this, actually. I think Strand Larsen needed to do a little bit better. Sort of falls on the floor, but then sticks a leg out and aims at near enough an empty net if he hits it anywhere near the left side of him. But he goes for the right near post, and it goes harmlessly wide. Unlucky, really, but I've seen the intention from Strand Larsen in this game already, and I knew he'd score eventually, and he does, but we'll get into that in the second half. But yeah, the first half, we do manage to get another goal, Spence own goal, but it's a really, really good bit of play from Aït-Nouri, who picks out a really good pass, really good cross. He was fantastic today, Aït-Nouri. Crosses it into the danger zone where Munetzi's sort of lurking. Munetzi does really, really well to sort of unsettle the defence, and he did that all day today. A bit of an unsung hero, Munetzi, but for what we use him for, it works really well because it unsettles defences and it allows all the space in the world for Strand Larsen, and that's kind of what was happening. But Strand Larsen couldn't get anywhere near it. He sort of does, but not enough to sort of give it any sort of purchase. And then it's just a comedy of errors, man. It's just an absolute comedy of errors. Vicario does an absolute piss poor job again at getting rid of the ball. It then hits Spence and it goes in as it's an own goal. It's 2-0. And it really, really does look like Wolves are going to get all 3 points because we were just not like phased by anything Spurs were throwing at us. Like I couldn't really see another way back for Spurs really. And coming from a Wolves fan, I mean that's pretty mental because as Wolves fans, we never really settled down when we're watching a football match. It doesn't matter how many goals we score. We always seem to at least concede one. And we do, but it's not into the second half. So I think in the first half, I think that really, really was the story. 2-0, really good press from Wolves, and just really unsettled Spurs. Vicario looked awful, and I think their whole defensive line was really not at the races. And I think that's why Wolves wanted to capitalise that, or capitalise on that rather, in the second half, and that's exactly what happened. So we get a little bit more possession. By the way, our actual XG today was nearly 3, which is mad. We honestly could have scored a load more goals today. But you know what? I'm really, really happy. So yeah, second half, Strand Larsen does manage to get a goal, but not before Tell gets a goal. And this is kind of disappointing, really. It was the only real defensive mistake that we made in the game, really. And it's the one that they capitalise on. Semedo gets caught really flat-footed and the ball sort of sails into him, but he can't really do anything with the ball. It comes at him quite awkwardly, and he's sort of like running backwards. And it's weird. He tries to like backheel it instead of trying to put it into his spell. I think he thinks the ball's coming behind him. Kind of just misjudges the flight of the ball, basically. And then it kind of obviously then leads to their goal. Tell puts it in. It's 2-1 at that point, and you're thinking, oh God, please don't throw it away now, because it was all just going so well for Wolves. But thankfully, not long after that, Strand Larsen in the 64th minute gets a great goal. And Ryan Aït-Nouri again, by the way. Really, really good. There was some really good spells of football that I'd love to talk about, but there were so many that I can't even put my finger on them, to be fair. But this was one of them, and it led to a goal. Just really, really good football from Wolves. Get it out wide, which we don't do enough, really. And now we've started to do that. That's when Strand Larsen's starting to score more goals. I think there's no sort of disguising that, is there? We get the ball out wide to Aït-Nouri, and Aït-Nouri does really, really well. Puts the ball in Strand Larsen. It's the easiest tap-in the world. But Strand Larsen at the moment, man, honestly, he was awesome again today. And there was a moment, I'm going to talk just while it's in my head, really. There was a moment where like he just looked like the most confident player on the pitch, and when you've got confidence in a number 9, we've seen it with Raul Jimenez. You just don't have any worries or qualms when the ball's at his feet. You just know something's going to come around from him, and that was what it was like today. He was like a man possessed after he got that goal. But yeah, okay, Richarlison scores in the 85th minute. It's a little bit disappointing, but it's from a corner, and we probably should have done better defensively. It's a really good corner, though, to be fair, and it was one of those really that was a tricky one to defend. It was just a really well worked corner, and it's then 3-2 when you're thinking, oh God, please don't throw it away. And then you know what? I'm going to talk about it, right? I made a whole video about Matheus Cunha and his state, really, and his attitude towards Wolves at the moment. But you know what you need to do? You need to deliver. If you're going to be Billy Big Bollocks, then you need to take those bollocks, bring him on the football pitch, and show us why you've got those bollocks. And I'll be honest, that's exactly what he did. That's exactly what he did. He was annoying me at first. He was throwing his arms around, doing, a bit of theatricalness, and kind of seemed a little bit toxic sometimes when something didn't go quite one of his fellow teammates' way, kind of throwing his arms out and everything. I didn't really like that, to be fair, but you know what? It led to a bit of brilliance from him, to be fair, and he does really well for this goal, and it comes at a time where we really needed one more goal just to seal it and just to really just be a bit more confident, and that's exactly what happens. Strand Larson, Thankyou does really, really well. Picks off a bit of rubbish sort of defending from Spurs, and just does really well to run at. And I think that's what Thankyou does really well. He runs at teams and puts the fear of God into them. And then as soon as he's doing that, it's one-on-one with the goalkeeper. It doesn't miss. It's genuinely a really, really assertive finish. And what I'm going to say about Thankyou is, yes, okay, he's got his a bit of an attitude problem, a bit of an ego and everything. But if you're going to deliver it on the football pitch, sometimes you can kind of say that it's okay. I don't agree with anything he's done recently, otherwise I wouldn't have made a video about it. And it hasn't really salvaged him to a point where I'm stupidly confident about those things, about him in general, really. But when he scored the goal and he made that celebration, we were joking about it on the Wolfpack, saying that he'd probably score and do the whole cup here thing, saying like about or do a bit of this, and he didn't, and he could have done, because he knows he's off. But it was a really, really nice celebration from Thankyou, I'm going to be honest. Does the whole, I'm really sorry prayer thing, points to the badge, points to Molyneux, saying, it's all about Wolves, not me. And I'll credit where it's due, it was a great goal, a great moment, really. He really got everybody back on his side, and it was the best thing that he could have done. So credit to Vitor Pereira for that, because a lot of us were joking around saying, I'll tell you what, just bring on Mane. Honestly, just bring on Mane to just show him that, it's not all about him. And, it was just a good moment. So fair play to Vitor Pereira, to have bollocks to not start him, but to then bring him on. And then fair play to Molyneux and everybody for getting on his side. And then fair play for Matthias for scoring, settling the game, and then obviously making that really good celebration that just seems to, like, he just seems like he wants to sort of say, what, I was wrong, saying, doing this. He obviously knows that he's wrong and everything, and that's fine, but in future, I just think he just needs to be careful with what he says. I'm not making this all about him again, by the way, because let's be honest, I've done a whole video about that, so if you want to check that out, please do. But yeah, it ended then 4-2 to Wolves. There's some really, really amazing things, obviously, that we want to talk about, because, the title says it all. Points and pints with a tick, because I just love that saying, and it came from our very own WWFC media art guy. What's his name? Nathan. Sorry, my mind went blank then. I was trying to look at my phone at the same time. Nathan obviously came up with this saying, came up with the design for the flag, and then the guys obviously who are in charge of all of those things then obviously do really well at producing the flag, and it's just a really, really nice moment for everybody to have something, a bit of like what's the word? A bit of like I don't know, a bit of like a war cry, really. Like, you know what I mean? Points and pints, like, it just stands for something. Like, it's silly, but it's also poignant, because it means that we've got something to work for. These points, yeah, are great. They're getting us up the table. They've saved the season, but then you've got the reward from that, the pints, and it's just great. So fair play to Nathan for that, because honestly, I feel like I'm doing a bit of a disservice. Nathan Crawford, I only ever see him as Nathan on our Facebook. I feel like I'm doing it a bit of a disservice. WWFC design is his handle, and he made this hat as well, which we can show off. He does do merch as well. He's an absolute legend for that, and I'm really, really chuffed for him. So I thought I'd make a little bit of an effort to talk about that in this as well. I'm sorry I butchered it because my mind was just going all over the place. But yeah, I tried to do these videos with no editing, by the way, so it's all done in one, basically. I do it all in one, so sometimes it can go a little bit pear-shaped, but I hope you guys appreciate them anyway. But anyway, one more thing I need to talk about. I don't know if you guys watched it on TV today. I did, because I couldn't get to the match. Money's tight at the moment, and had a bit of a migraine, so I didn't end up going. But the commentator, Ethan Ekaku, whatever his name is. I'm really sorry for butchering your name. But this guy was an absolute ball fest in the commentary, and it just seemed like he was so anti-Wolves. And I thought I'd just mention it, even though it's like obviously not a big deal or whatever. But I don't know if you guys think this as well, but it just seems to me, like I've been watching like the Premier League highlights as well sometimes, and it just seems to me like they're not arsed about us at all, especially if we're against a top 6 side. It's like, oh, for God's sake, Wolves again. It's just a bit disappointing. So, but anyway, let's stop talking about it, eh? Let's talk about more positive things. I'll tell you what, the more positive things are the fact that this is our squad today, and I'll tell you what, I don't get why the scores are so low. So I'm gonna do my best to retain some good scores here for the lads, because I genuinely think we did a lot better than this. I thought Sarr, other than what did Sarr do wrong today? His distribution was good. Under Vitor Pereira, by the way, I do actually think Sarr's distribution's improved a lot, actually. He made a good save. He made a good save from a decent shot from Basuma. And then other than that, he's let in a couple of goals, but they're not exactly goals where, it's a goalkeeper fault or whatever, like Vicario. Very much not that at all, actually. So don't really get that. And then, I think I'd give him like a 7.5, really. I don't understand why he'd get any less than that. Just when he was needed, did well. Doherty, unfortunately, looked a bit like he had a bit of an injury. He was carrying a bit of an injury, which is unfortunate, because I think he's done really well this season. So probably just needs a bit of a rest, to be honest. And when Santi Bueno come on for him, I thought he fit in quite well. So I wasn't too concerned about it, really. I'm obviously concerned about Doc's health, and I wish him the best and everything, but I wasn't concerned in terms of the match. I thought Santi fit in quite well, really. So Agbadou, oh my God, this guy genuinely gets I reckon he gets a 9. I actually do think he gets a 9 today, because is there a better centre-back in the Premier League right now than him? Nothing goes through him. Spurs, literally, at some point, they lost the ball to him, and they just was like, you know what, lad, it's your ball. Don't look at me like that. I'm scared shitless of you. He's just an absolute mountain. He's a warrior. You ain't getting past Agbadou. He made one defensive mistake, and even that wasn't technically a mistake. It came across as a really decent clearance in the end. Toti Gomez, not as good as Agbadou, but I think because you're next to Agbadou, you never really are going to be. He's just another level of defender. But when he was needed, Toti did well. He did a really good thing at one point, where he sort of collected the ball in the space of midfield, where Andre and Gomez were kind of not vacant, and did really well to get forward and play a decent ball in and win some fouls and everything. So he's really good at that. I just think sometimes when he's got the ball at his feet, he needs to think about the next pass he's going to make, instead of just literally just referring to just clearing it straight away, because sometimes that can lead to him hitting it at a player that's charging him down, and it kind of sends a bit of alarm bells to our defence, really. But other than that, I don't really think he was that bad at all. 8-0, 100% a 10 today. Like, what more could you do? Like, he scored a goal, he gets an assist, arguably gets an assist for the goal that ends up as an own goal as well, because that ball in was fantastic. And he was just all over the place today. But what I really liked about him, and I said this to the Wolfpack lads, he got back well today and defended really well, which is something that we've not seen for a while from him. But I just thought he claimed that side his own really, because he normally leaves it to the defender that's behind him. But he kind of thought, you know what, Totty's having a bit of a dodgy spell today, so I'm gonna sit back a little bit. I don't know if it's an instruction from Vitor or something he did consciously himself, but it really, really paid off. And yeah, I tell you what, him and João Gomez are very close for my man of the match, but you probably should give it to Ait Nouri, considering the 2 goals don't happen without him. And he just looked really, really good today. It's probably his best performance of the season as well. So yeah, it definitely deserves it, doesn't he, really? Andre, just really good again. Just really good. Just what he does. He just does what he does really, really well. Do you know what I mean? When the ball's at his feet, you're not worried about it. I think he misplaced 1 pass pretty much the whole game. And even that comes as a shock because you don't expect it from him, which is just mad. Like 1 pass in a whole game is just absolutely crazy. João Gomez, for me, honestly, we need to keep this kid, man. We need to keep this kid. The combination of him and Andre, by the way, we should literally just build the team around them next season, because they are just easily the best midfielders in the Premier League. And I know I'm saying that with gold-tinted glasses, but at the same time, man, am I wrong? As a midfield partnership, am I wrong? Because if you think I am, put it in the comments. But I genuinely don't think I am, man. Like, the partnership that these two have, both Brazilian, but they both do the same things really well. So when one person's out of position, the other person's in position. When one person makes a pass to go forward, the other one stays back and cleans up in case it doesn't go off. And it just works really well. They just work together really well. Semedo, not the best. Obviously, I think that I'm really, really, really happy that it looks like he might get a contract by the looks of it, which would be amazing, because I honestly, genuinely think he holds that captain armband better than a lot of people. Obviously, we've seen Lamina have an absolute pig's ear of it. Cunha, when he's been asked to have it, hasn't done really well with it. Doherty, I think he could probably be okay with it, but I just think Semedo at the moment's the key one, really, because he's been in the team the longest other than Doc. And then I just think it doesn't seem to weigh him down. Do you know what I mean? The responsibility doesn't seem to weigh him down, which is amazing. I think Bellegarde, up until he got injured, I thought he was really, really good. And I think Sarabia, when he came on for him, basically played the same role, and it really worked nicely, actually. I'm hoping that Bellegarde's injury isn't too bad. I don't think it is, because I saw him walking around at the end of the game, so I think it should be okay. Maybe a bit of a precautionary thing, which is fair enough. We didn't do that enough really last season. When players are injured, we just kept playing them over and over again. You look at the likes of Neto and stuff. We just kept playing the same bloody injured players. Whereas Vitor seems to listen to his medical staff a little bit more and go, you know what? Yeah, okay, we'll take Bellegarde off then. And I like that. Say the same for Doc as well. Munetsi, I'm starting to grow fond of this guy, because I tell you what, a lot of the goals that were scored today, and a lot of the reason that the defensive mistakes happened in terms of Spurs, genuinely came through the fact that Munetsi was just a little bastard. he just was like running at them constantly. Every time they were in possession with the defence, you just had Munetsi running at them, yapping at them, going, come on then, I'll have it off you. And it really unsettled Spurs, and they couldn't cope with it. Honestly, if that's all he's going to do, and it allows all the space for our other players, you know what? Maybe that's what's been missing for Strand Larsen, because I think sometimes, as good as Cunha is, and we'll get round to that in a minute, I do think sometimes Cunha doesn't do what Munetsi does as much. He doesn't run as much as Munetsi. So I think we've got 2 players there. Obviously, Cunha will probably be leaving, but we've got 2 players in there which do similar things but differently, and it kind of helps. Strand Larson, really, really good. I mean, I said this earlier, like, he was like a man possessed. I think I'd give him an 8, maybe even 8.5. He was just really, really good today because the goal seems to breed confidence in him, which it does in number nines, you know what I mean? But, like, it does something different for Strand Larson for me. Like, it seems to put him into a mindset where he just seems like he's unbeatable and he's unstoppable and he can just do things that really his attributes shouldn't allow him to do. There was one moment with Strand Larson that I think I started to talk about earlier, was where he was trying to do like a 1-2 with Sarabia, and like just really shouldn't have got the shot off that he was able to do. But it was because of his consistency in just trying to maintain the ball, and we didn't see that really with Strand Larson under Gary O'Neill. He just seems like a different bloke. I mean, I could say that about everybody. I mean, if I'm gonna rate anybody the highest out of anyone, it's Vitor Pereira. He gets an absolute 10 because Vitor Pereira has changed this team, has changed the ethos in this team, has given them complete belief, freedom, and confidence. Is given every single player a new lease of life. Is given players that were already playing well another level. The guy is unreal. Like, today, guys, we won 4 football matches in the Premier League for the first ever time. We are so fond of Nuno and the era that we were in with him. I think sometimes we forget just how good Vitor Pereira actually is, because we'd never been able to do that before, even under Nuno. We were never been able to get 4 wins, and especially 4 wins that are super important. Very, very important. They're all against teams that are down there fighting with us. And actually, Wolves of old have been guilty of only really doing well against the teams that are at the top and struggling against the ones that are around us and sort of allowing them to leapfrog us all the while. And it's just been really nice to obviously see us, end a season all being well on a positive. We haven't done that for ages. I don't remember the last time we ended a season on a positive, and obviously it could all go to shit in the next few games. But we've managed to do so well. We're off the bottom 3, obviously. We're safe. We've known that for a while now. But another thing that's pretty amazing is that if we look at the table, guys, if we actually look at the table now, Southampton, Leicester and Ipswich look like they're all going down. But West Ham lost again today and we leapfrogged them. We've got Man United next that are struggling, and then we're 16th at the moment. We could actually genuinely start to look up and think, you know what? We just beat Spurs. Could we leapfrog them? And then we could go, all right, let's try and get 40 points. And if we get 40 points, and Man United and I mean, Everton are doing really well at the moment, actually. But if teams don't start to pick up points, we could be in a decent situation where with with 40 points in, looking up, and this whole season could completely change. It could absolutely completely change. So, guys, I'm just absolutely buzzing. I genuinely am. Everything today that needed to go well, that needed salvaging, that needed improvement, that needed a little bit of, oomph. Do you know what I mean? Like, we've won against teams, okay, fair enough, they're around us or they're under us. But to beat a team that's actually above us, and then convincingly, it just sends a completely different message. I loved seeing the lads at the end celebrating. There seems to be a massive togetherness in this team, and I was really worried that Thankyou was going to be the one that threw a spanner in the works. But even Thankyou at the end as well was giving it the olays. I couldn't be happier, guys. I genuinely couldn't be happier, man. Like, what a performance, man. And what a result, and what an end to this season. Vitor Pereira, man. Honestly, if we keep Vitor, if we keep Strand Larson, if we keep Joe Gomez, Ray and Nori, and I mean, okay, Semedo might go. We might lose Sarabia. We might lose Cunha. If we replace these players with decent replacements and we still start to build a team around the players that have been doing well this season, I genuinely have a really good feeling about the end of this season, man, and the start of next. So yeah, if you enjoyed that, guys, do me a big favour. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, hit that notification bell so you don't miss future videos, and I shall see you on the next one in a bit.